I'm just going to share my opinion on this whole, Rich and Asman getting carried in, various fights. In Rich's case, he got carried in UCOB. A lot of people say he's getting carried. Other people are, saying people that say that are gatekeepers and salty and this, that, and the third. Um, I just wanted to give my opinion on the matter. And I think the question you have to ask is what makes an ultimate hard. So when you look at Final Fantasy mechanics, I think it's fair to say that most mechanics aren't hard to execute, and they aren't particularly complicated. I think the challenge in, your ultimate fights are, as follows. One, if you're doing it blind, then the challenge is figuring out the mechanics. And then on top of figuring out the mechanics, you have to wipe to a mechanic X amount of time before you figure it out. You have to keep starting over from the very beginning each time you do. So you need a lot of time, a lot of patience, you need mental endurance to have good pulls, and you have to learn the mechanics as they come and how to execute them, how to pass them. And I think another part of what makes Ultimate really, and to me, this is probably the hardest part, is that it really depends on your life, how busy you are, how much time you have, because you actually need to find 7 other people that have a similar schedule as you that could do the same thing that you're trying to do, and you need 7 other people that mesh with each other, because you're probably not going to clear with people who you hate to play with, who you hate to hear and listen to, and yada yada. And to me, that is the hardest part about Ultimate. Just getting into Ultimate is probably, in my opinion, the hardest part about freaking Ultimate. Holy shit, actually getting people to stick around, finding the right group to actually complete it with. Because getting a group is one thing. There's so many groups that will tell you, yeah, we prog for this long, but prog is inconsistent because of scheduling this, people quitting that, yada yada. 101 different reasons as to why people suddenly just they can't prog, whatever the case may be. That is what makes Ultimate really freaking challenging. And the reason why, it's no surprise that most people that complete Ultimates, well, let me not say most people, because I don't fucking know, but it seems to me a lot of them are, content creators. They spend a lot of time on the game. They have the time. They have, the connections. If you're a streamer or a content creator, whatever the case may be, you get, they play with each other a lot, probably because they've all seen each other's content, and that's I guess that's like an icebreaker, perhaps. As far, I don't really know that. I'm just talking out of my ass. I'm just guessing that seems to be the case. But for an average person, if you're working full time, if you have a busy career, or if you only live with if you live by yourself or just with one other person with one other source of income, you're probably spending most of your time at work to make a living, and then your limited time, which is in short supply. There's so many different things you could use it with. You're probably not going to want to spend it on Ultimate, where things are going to be mega inconsistent, which is wasting your time, which would be really aggravating. Yeah, I really think that's all it really comes down to. So when you see Asmund and Rich, people saying they got carried, well, I think more importantly, like the bigger thing, it's not about getting carried. It's just privilege. The streamer privilege of getting themselves having it easier to get a group like a Rich's team. They were all, you know, like really good top players that already completed UCOB and all the ultimates probably. You know, that is a privilege that your average person is just not going to have. The privilege of time. Average person has to make a living, most likely have to make a living, and just don't have the time to spend, you know, 8 hours every day, or, you know, however long they play, to prog UCOB. And the fact that he played what he saved a hell of a lot of time, because the whole and this is how it's supposed to work for a streamer. As a streamer, you most certainly do not want your stream to consist of, you know, 12 hours a day wiping on a single fight for, you know, I don't know, 2 weeks, a month, however long it may take. That's not good stream content. So, you know, people that are actually upset that he got carried, you know, these same people wouldn't watch his stream the whole way through. They would probably stop watching after 1 day, 2 day stops, because they realize that shit is boring. Watching people wipe to the same mechanic over and over and over and over and over and over and over for hours until, you know, until all 8 of them get it. And that's what makes Ultimate really tough. High responsibility for each individual. And a couple of people, one person could just fuck up they can wipe you and just fuck your whole shit up. Everyone gets shit up. So that does not make for good stream content at all. That would be awful stream content. So it's literally in their stream's best interest to actually have, you know, a really professional, that's kind of a weird way to put it, but, you know, a pro team, so to speak. You really do not want to watch, no one really wants to watch someone wipe for 20, it gets higher every time, for 12 hours a day to, like, a couple of mechanics. No matter how much they complain about him getting carried, no one wants to see that shit. But, to be fair, it is also disingenuous to say that he cleared the run. Like, I guess you have to, you know, I guess you could debate yourself what constitutes as clearing. So if that means just reaching the end of the fight, regardless of your personal, your individual, what's the word I'm looking for? Performance. Then I guess if that's how you view it, that really comes. I guess that just comes down to personal preference. You know, did he hit, you know, your basic DPS check? I'm sure, I didn't watch the stream, so I'm sure he learned mechanics, because there's no way you're gonna clear an ultimate constantly wiping. I doubt that these guys would want to play with a person who literally died to every single mechanic. Like, every single mechanic. I sincerely doubt that. So he must have learned mechanics, and he must have been good enough to, you know, to make it to the end. Like, we have to give him that. So I don't think he got, I don't want to say he got carried. More like he just had a lot of privileges. Alright, he had a lot of advantages that your average person would not have. So I think it's the wrong question to, you know, ask if he got carried. More so, you know, he was just a really advantaged individual in, you know, in this case. And he himself has said as much. Of course he would say as much, because duh. I mean, anyone with a pair of eyes would see, yeah, he had a lot of advantages. So, you know, to me, he did clear. He just cleared with a lot of advantages, and that's really it. You know, I really don't think it more needs to be said. It seems like such a, an objective thing to say. He had a bunch of advantages, but still got the clear. And if he wants to, if ever he wants to, he wants to prog, but this time he wants to do it with a fresh team, and he will be the only one, or a couple of people who are experienced enough to help the new people and their group prog and clear, and take on more personal responsibility, and to feel like he really earned that clear more. If that's how he feels, he could do that. And that's probably, and it would be better if he does do that. It'd be better to do it off stream, because that's just not good stream content. You can't have that on stream. So yeah, that's just my opinion on the matter. I would not say he got carried. I would say he was just really advantaged. He had a big advantage, and he was still, he was able, he had the skill to clear the ultimate, I guess, probably by the skin of his teeth. His DPS was probably not up to, the average. Probably, I would ask his teammates that, because they play with him. They probably have the ACT shit, so, they would know. I wouldn't know. So yeah, that's just my opinion on the matter.